Takers, it's your boy Tyler. Of course, this is Ty and Lay's Take. Today, we're switching it up. Lay isn't joining me for this one, but joining me today is SEV7EN Taylor from Connecticut. And we're going to be talking about some new music. We're going to be talking about his experiences and journey as an independent music artist. Thank you so much for joining us today and taking the time to chat with us and let us introduce you and all of your talents to our takers.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we dive right in on the show. As you guys know, if you are a independent music artist or business owner, actor, we cover all the things here on the show. So I do appreciate you for joining us. And really, I really am excited to know. I feel like there's so many independent music artists that don't get the airtime, don't get the radio play, and
Right.
it's unfortunate. So I'm glad that we have the platform to be able to have these conversations and
Right.
really just get to know all the different music artists that are out here. So that being said, I want to know, what moment did you realize, like, this is what I want to do, this is what I love, this is my passion, this is something that I want to do.
I would say between 5 to 7 years old. Like, I I always gravitated towards just, I guess, theatrical drama. Not drama, but the theatrical drama, like watching soap operas when my babysitter was babysitting me and taking in All My Children and One Life to Live and all that stuff. I love the complex of the bad characters. So I would always like react it when I go upstairs and have my little experience of like, maybe one day I'll do this. Maybe one day I'll be some type of public figure or whatever the situation is. And I guess that helped the manifestation.
Absolutely. So speaking of manifestation, I'm a firm believer in like the secret and speaking your dreams and what you want out of your life and your gifts. So I
Right.
I did my research a little bit, and
Okay.
you've done a wide variety of things. So we're talking music right now, but also
Mhm.
modeling, a
Mhm.
published author, like a jack of all trades. So
Right.
that being said, what has been your experiences like, or what have your experiences been rather, as as a model and as an author, and tell us a little bit more about these projects before we dive
Yeah.
into the music.
Oh, those are definitely good questions. I feel like everything has led itself up to this moment. I didn't really at first. I didn't really seek out modeling. It kind of sought me out. I was doing an internship at Arts and Ideas. It's a festival thing called Arts and Ideas, or Festivals Arts and Ideas. And I was doing an internship while I was in high school, and this girl that I was working with, we both were studying actors. She brought a camera, and then one day we went on break and just took some pictures. And she was like, "Oh, you're very photogenic," and I didn't know at that time what photogenic meant. So I just started to like research more about the chemistry of feeling the camera and feeling that energy when you're taking pictures, and studying Marilyn Monroe and many other iconic figures that took very good cinematic photographs. Um, and then from there, I got signed. I was working with John Casablancas, and I did some modeling for H&M, Rue 21, etc. And then it trickled into publishing books, and then everything else just kind of came behind, like the music. Everything else just like was a snowball effect, I should say. you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, convert or going more into the music
hmm
sector of the interview. Who are some of your musical inspirations, or people that if you were given the opportunity to work with anybody, music artists, producers, songwriters, who would
Right.
you want to work with? Who inspires you? Who gets you going? What's on your playlist currently?
I would say, well, I would say Doja Cat is on my playlist. Nicki Minaj is on my playlist. Far as like artists that inspire me to do what I'm doing now, Nicki Minaj, Foxy Brown, Little Kim, Missy Elliott, Jay Z, Biggie. And it would go on and on and on, but those are kind of the individuals that inspire me to rap and like really go into rap and have fun and be creative and be serious when I need to be serious, and so on and so forth. So I definitely feel like those was always like my go-tos. But I feel like I'm inspired by so many different artists, for different reasons.
Okay. So, thus far, what has been some of your biggest challenges and obstacles that you've overcome, whether it be as a model in the music industry, as an author? What have been some challenges, and just set the scene for for the takers that may not have been to Connecticut yet. You know,
Right.
what is because I feel like the music scene here in Detroit is different than what it is in Cleveland or what it's in. You know what I mean? Like it varies. So what is the music scene like locally for you for your hometown?
I feel like New Haven, we have a very diverse musical scene here. I do feel like it's a diluted space at times as well because of like the raisin in the sun syndrome, like where a lot of individuals will plant their gifts, their goals, etc., but don't really water it, don't really tend to it. Just going into the entertainment business, it's an actual process itself. You don't just pop into there. You just don't pop onto the screen or stuff like that unless it's alignment or unless it's certain things that is working itself out. So you have even a lot of artists that I look up to. They really didn't take off until 28, 29, 30. Those were where the prominent alignment has happened in their life. So I feel like navigating back to that question, um, it's a diverse scene here, but it's again a diluted space at the same time. Because like you have a lot of talent, you have a lot of talented individuals, but you have a lot of people that don't see beyond the rainbow. And sometimes people could just get caught up in that glamour of illusion itself, and then you don't put the work in, or people just don't know how to grow as an artist. Like, yes, I am a rapper, but I blend a lot of different genres into my music: house music, you know, electric, rock and roll. I've done a lot of different sounds, itself.
Okay. So you've spoken previously about how songs provoke a stream of, a wide range of emotions. Can you tell us a little bit more about your creative writing process and, how you include your lived experiences and, memories and things that you've experienced in your life thus far within
Mhm.
your work, whether it be as an author or within your music?
Yeah, like far as like the emotional dynamics of I think for me, whether it's creating music or whether it's creating, any, whether it's creating music or anything else that's happening, like, writing or stuff like that, it's always been spiritual for me. It's always a spiritual process. It's always a process that happens. There's a seed that's planted. And then when I go to present it or I go to walk into those spaces, I know exactly what I'm doing. So it's like I've always been guided to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And I've always listened to that internal voice, even when you have people around you that, again, the raisin in the sun syndrome. They don't know how to water their dreams. They don't know how to water themselves. They don't know how to love themselves. They don't know what it looks like to be on the opposite side of the illusion. So you have to be your own, I guess, role model in a sense of your dreams and your aspirations. And when it comes to emotions, I do feel like this particular project does open up a lot of information, a lot of experiences, a lot of healing, a lot of closure, and so on and so forth that does happen on the album, the Clip Off. Um, and yeah, I feel like emotions are very powerful. They're not something to be afraid of. You shouldn't be afraid to express yourself emotionally. You should want to be in tune with yourself because that's how you really know yourself.
Absolutely. I think it's so important, especially with like mental health and like trying to break down that stigma. I think
Yes.
just being very open and vulnerable with yourself and, being comfortable with yourself before you're comfortable with others. I think that's
Yes.
really, truly important. Um, can
I
you tell
agree.
us, let's just dive full throttle. Can you tell us
Okay.
more about the inspiration behind your new album, The Clip Off, and how is this project different than your previous mixtapes or your previous LPs that have already been out?
Good question. I feel like when I approached the Clip Off started off as a thought. Because I was already studying like the Tree of Life, the Kabbalah, and I was already like diving deep into a lot of just different instruments of spirituality. So I do feel like when I did approach the Clip Off, I had the title before the project was even finished. So I held on to it and I wanted to see like, okay, well, let me sit with it. And I sat with it for like a good 2 years to really say, okay, this is going to be the title of the project. Um, but I would say the creative process for this was very different because I was able to reflect a lot of, even though I've always been truthful in my music or in my artist expressions, I feel like this one I really was able to express a lot that has went on for the past 2 to 3 years of my life, and um, express a vulnerability and anger and rage and Helen and comfort and whatever else, cockiness, braggadocious, all those different nuances that one would exhibit during creative process. So I do feel like this one was a very, very deep spiritual one. And I feel more complete now that it's completed and now that it's shy a few weeks away from, making its debut. And then also to ask to the other question you said, like in comparison, I feel like with Boys Just Want to Have, like far as my LPs, Boys Just Want to Have Fun, the Disobedience to Jimmy Taylor, um, the Boys Just Want to Have Fun, the Disobedience to Jimmy Taylor, Blessed to Be, all those different things. What do you want? It's over there. It's on the stove. I'm sorry, but so yeah, like the Blessed to Be, the Disobedience to Jimmy Taylor, Boys Just Want to Have Fun, all those different projects. I was always in a different, I would say, different time capsule with those. So it was always what was happening in that moment, what was transpiring itself at that time, that I was able to really tap in and do what I need to do for that space that I was in occupying. But I do feel like this project shows it demonstrates a lot of growth artistically wise, but also just sonically sounding, like the textures of the songs, the way that the stories is going and stuff like that. It's all different, nuance of experience.
Absolutely. So you ask an important question, which I need to know the answer to. I've
Right.
seen it around. It's, do you got the signal? So I want to know what that
Right.
question means, and let's dive into that a little bit further.
Yeah. So do you have the signal? So basically, as I was like prepping a lot of the promotional, scenery around the project itself, the clip off dives deep not only in just like the emotional body of things, but it also dives deep in the spiritual things, the awareness. And do you have the signal? Is meaning, are you connected? Are you just an NPC or are you a live playing character? Which one you're going to go into, which one you're going to nestle into. And I do feel like a lot of times when we go into these experiences, we have to find some connection. You have to find something that's holding you here in this moment. Like me and you right now, where we set an intent to have an interview, do it, and now we're connecting. And I feel like that's the same thing when you go to make an album or a book or whatever. You got to connect with the work. You got to connect with the scenery around you. So do you have the signal? Is basically saying like, are you connected? Are you aware? Where does your awareness range from? Um, and yeah, basically that's it. Are you connected? And if you're not, are you still looking around with your cellular device to find a signal? Of your life.
I like that. I like that. So you talk a little bit about healing and dating and relationships. As you know, the dating life out here isn't the easiest. So,
Right.
what advice would you give to people out there that are still trying to find their person, or maybe just trying to like find love within themselves first before they meet their person? What advice would you give to somebody that's currently going through things in the dating sector?
I would definitely say you gotta know who you are. You have to know who you are. You have to know what you're presenting. Um, it's about understanding the experience itself before you even want to share it with someone. Like you got to understand your experience before you want to share it with someone. Because if you don't understand your experience, you may be settling for less. You're bringing the apple tree and the orange tree, and all they bringing is soil. you know, we got to match each other's requirements. I can't just have one thing.
Dropping gems.
Right. We have to have an actual connecting experience. So yeah, for anyone that, especially as an artist, 'cause I feel like a lot of individuals don't know that, and this is something that I learned during the process of working on the book and the album, is that a lot of individuals, we signed this very unconscious contract, and this unconscious contract as an artist is we commit to going through different cycles of life and what that looks like and what that feels like, so it's like you have a lot of experiences where you'll have artists that make the money and get the fame and all whatever else they're going to get the person of their dreams, and then they walk away from the industry, and you're probably like, oh, well, why? You're in your prime, you're in your your century of life. But it's because they can become aware of the artist contract, and the artist contract says you have to have cycles, to have experiences, to have context, in order to create. So once I learned that, please, we'll be able to edit this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I just so jumping out of you. So anyway, I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, so like I was saying, like basically the artist contracts is something that people become aware of, but they don't know that it's a thing that always will happen as being an artist. And that's life itself. You will always have experiences. You can't stop it. There's no pause button on it. Become aware of, but they don't know that it's a thing that always will happen as being an artist. And that's life itself. You will always have experiences. You can't stop it. There's no pause button on it. So for individuals that are artists that are dating, you got to become aware of that. Once you become aware of those logistics of things, you become aware of life itself, and you also become aware of how things will divert itself in. Breakups, cheating, etc., whatever else may be on the table for you. But yeah, one must know itself so it can know what to present for others.
Absolutely. And lastly, what can we expect from you within the remainder of this year and next year? And then, of course, where can people find you online, and where can we tap into your world?
Okay, wait, that was like a 3-part. Okay, so you said where can people?
What can we expect? What can we expect from you the remainder of this year?
Okay,
and where can people find you online?
Okay, so first one, well, a lot of success, one, but two, you will definitely find a lot of just, I guess, nuances of creative energy that I'll put out there when it comes to like, soon working on visuals and all those different things that will come apart this experience, which is a clip off this era of, myself. People can find me on social media at SEV7EN, SEV, the number 7EN Taylor. On all social media, you can find me on Apple Music everywhere. And what was the third one? I know it was like a third question.
Nope, that was it.
Oh, that was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes. Awesome. So be sure to check it out. The clip off is dropping on September 27th. We'll put all of your social media links. We have it at the bottom of the screen in the corner. And then, yeah, like I'm so excited for this project. Thank you so much for chatting it up with us. And hopefully we'll have you back on soon, maybe.
Yes, I appreciate this humbly, and thank you so much for sharing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again.
All right.